admire your sword in front of your dead girlfriend. No big deal. Everyone says that Mono is the girlfriend, but honestly, I have my own theories about what she is, that are definitely not in any way romantic. Oh, but that's part of the fun. Everyone has different theories. Okay. What are your theories? Oh, I have so many. Here, I feel like at some point I just need to read. I wrote a whole essay on what my theories are for this game. I'm I wonder if I should just do a stream one day, just like basically giving my essay on all my theories, because I have many. You can start streaming. In this essay, I will. Okay, yeah, you know what? Let me pull this up. One sec, because I'm not kidding. I wrote a whole thing about this. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, here is what I wrote about Shadow of the Colossus. I will read this, and then we will switch back to your regularly scheduled meme run. So, taking the game at face value, Shadow of the Colossus, originally released for is an action-adventure game that follows a young man named Wander. Wander travels from far away to the Forbidden Land and asks an entity only known as the Doorman to bring a dead girl he has with him back to life. We all know this. According to Wander, the woman Mono had a cursed fate. The Doorman explains that in order to bring her back, his power must be unlocked by destroying 16 stone statues. These reside in the Doorman's temple, currently hold his powers sealed. The statue cannot be broken by hand, but they each represent one of the many colossi that live in the Forbidden Land. Defeat the Colossus, the statue breaks. Okay, so here we go. If you weren't really paying attention to the rest of the game, the opening cutscene dialogue would probably be where you glean most of the plot from, and the rest would seem straightforward. Point glowing sword, go in that direction of glowing sword, stab monster with glowing sword, repeat. Here's my theory. The Doorman is a god that is the embodiment of duality, both male and female, light and darkness, life and death. Whenever they speak, their voice is both masculine and feminine simultaneously. The sword leading you to Colossi, powered by the Doorman, directs you using beams of light, yet it uses dark color schemes, and whenever the Doorman's power is released from a Colossus, dark streaks of shadows consume the main character. In order for the Doorman to grant Mono life, Wander's life is slowly taken away in the process until he ends up dying. And when the Doorman is destroyed by the priest in the temple, Wander is reborn, albeit cursed. Wander and the priests who come to the Forbidden Land share something key in common. The symbols on their clothes are not only almost identical, but they also reflect the weak sigils that appear on each Colossus, showing where to insert the ever-reliable glowing sword. Symbols like these are also pretty prominently displayed on pieces of architecture and altars that are scattered throughout the Forbidden Land. However, when Wander arrives in the Forbidden Land, the Doorman laughs in his face for asking to use their power, and when Lord Iman arrives, the priests completely forsake the place and consider the Doorman an unholy being. Keeping all this in mind, here's where we go forward with my theory. So, hundreds of years ago, people used to live in the Forbidden Land and revere the Doorman as their supreme god. They built altars of worship across the land for those traveling from one side to the other, but the bridge that was built between their temple and the outside world was a means of keeping others out. The religious people of the Forbidden Land regularly asked the Doorman to use their power, and after building cities and beautiful structures and more, the people decided they wanted to create life. The people in the Forbidden Land created 16 colossi and told the Doorman the creatures were being created as offerings to them to honor their legacy. As such, they wanted to build dual versions of the colossi, solid dead structures in his temple and living full embodiments in the world. Once again, the duality of Doorman coming into play. And the Doorman grants his request, breathing life into the colossi as they had requested. Of course, just like Wander's request to bring Mono back to life, when the people asked to have these structures brought back to life, they didn't realize what horrible repercussions would come with it, and in order to animate the statues, an equal amount of life would have to be sacrificed, and thus hundreds of people were killed. When the colossi finally did come to life after this ritual, they all acted independently of their creators, each acting according to their own will. Even if their bodies were created by man, their spirits gave them free will, and they did not bow to the humans who created them. So the more peaceful colossi faded away, while others tore apart cities and structures that the people had worked so hard to create. The Dorman's followers were outraged and saw that the Dorman showed no remorse for their actions. These beings were created by both God and man, bringing both life and death, both stone and flesh, upholding the same duality of their own power. The Dorman didn't understand how people were shocked by this, because, like, that's their MO. And as an act of rebellion for all the blood that was shed that they blamed on the Dorman, they used their power to seal them away, hiding the gods' power in the very creatures they had been coerced to create. Then, when the deed was done and the Dorman was sealed away, the former followers all fled, creating a new life and religion for themselves outside, and forbade anyone from setting foot in the Dorman's realm again. I do think that despite being horrified by the practices of the Dorman, some sacrificial rituals continued, and they were probably used out of sheer superstition to protect themselves from their old god, should they somehow return and break the seal. And Wander, since he's wearing the same religious symbol as the priests, was probably a minister in training or something like that. Mona was to be sacrificed, and Wander was supposed to be the one to do it, even though he felt she didn't deserve to die. And I don't think trying to bring her back to life was an act of love, but I do think he felt regret for killing an innocent girl. And after killing her, his shame consumed him until he couldn't stand it and wanted to find a way to undo his actions. And once he found that a sacred relic, a forsaken god, and a map to the Forbidden Land supposedly held the key to reviving the girl he had unjustly slain, he stole the supplies he needed and ran. So when Wander appears at the temple, asking the Dorman to bring back this girl's life using the power his very people sealed away, wearing the symbol fountain of beings this ancient god helped to create, of course they were going to laugh at the irony. Literally, the next generation came to them, and everything came full circle. And even after being set free at the end of the game with all the statues that contain their power destroyed, the Dorman could only physically manifest when using Wander's body, both free and prisoner, man and god, living and dying. That's my theory. And I think that the reason why the people, the boys with horns, were forsaken and were buried alive, and the reason why these horned creatures, they basically just constantly fed these young boys to these creatures, is because they considered the whole place cursed, and once Wander appeared with the horns, that was just seen another part of the Dorman's legacy. So again, it was a god that did everything that was asked of it, and then as a result of that, because people fucked up and did not understand the god's MO wasn't just good, it caused thousands and thousands of years of imprisonment and a legacy of this curse and these creatures being born. So that's my theory. Okay, I'm reading the comments about this. This is lit, yo. Oh, dang, I love the theory for the origin of the Colossi. This makes my religious studies major's heart happy. This is some near-level stuff, yo. Priest, sees a child with horns. Priest, put that thing back in your cape more, so help me. Yep, humans are idiots. Man's hubris, the ultimate Colossus. Oh, thank you so much, y'all. I'm glad you like my theory. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. And again, if people disagree with me, the part of the beauty of this game, and I know I mentioned this during GDQ, and whenever I say my theories, I always bring it up, but like, it's just my theory. If you want to accept it as headcanon, amazing. Please accept it as headcanon. Do what you want. Live your best life. But if you don't, like, that's okay. Because part of the fun of this game is everyone having their own theories. So... but yeah, there you go. That's my story time. Story time with Ruby.